Thank you for watching. Please comment, like and subscribe.
And in the vast and ancient tapestry of human history, certain stories resonate with unparalleled power. Tales of gods and men, of miracles and plagues, of deliverance and despair. They echo through the ages, reminding us of the enduring struggle between good and evil, faith and doubt. In the book of Exodus, we witness one of the most dramatic stories of deliverance. God, through Moses, brings 10 devastating plagues upon Egypt to free the Israelites from Pharaoh's grip. Imagine a land of golden sands and shimmering pyramids, ruled by a pharaoh who claimed to be a god himself. Yet in the heart of this mighty empire, a people cried out for freedom, their cries reaching the ears of the one true God. This is the story of those 10 plagues, a testament to the awesome power of God and the unbreakable spirit of a people yearning for liberation. The Nile, lifeblood of Egypt, turned crimson. Imagine the horror as the Egyptians watched their sacred river transform into a sea of blood. Fish gasping for air rose to the surface, their silvery scales reflecting the bloody hue. The stench of death hung heavy in the air, a grim foreshadowing of the horrors to come. Pharaoh's heart, however, remained hardened. He turned away from the river, from the suffering of his people, clinging to his pride and his power. But the Nile, once a source of life, was now a reminder of his defiance. The ribbit of frogs, usually a comforting sound of nature, became an unbearable cacophony. They poured from the Nile, a living, hopping tide engulfing the land. They invaded homes, kitchens, even the pharaoh's chambers. Imagine the panic, the disgust, the sheer overwhelming presence of these creatures. Pharaoh, desperate, pleaded with Moses to lift the plague. He promised freedom for the Israelites if only the frogs would disappear. And for a moment there was hope. The ground itself seemed to come alive, but instead of grass and flowers, it was a seething mass of gnats. They swarmed, a living dust, biting, irritating, driving men and beasts to madness. The air, thick with these tiny tormentors, became almost unbreathable. Even the pharaoh's magicians, with all their mystical arts, were powerless. This, they admitted, is the finger of God. The buzzing of flies, a constant maddening drone, replaced the chirping of birds. They swarmed, black and relentless, drawn to the rotting carcasses of fish and frogs. The stench was overwhelming. The land, once a paradise, was now a breeding ground for pestilence. But Pharaoh's heart, hardened by pride and stubbornness, refused to yield. He clung to his power, even as his kingdom crumbled around him. The cries of dying animals echoed across the land. A deadly pestilence swept through Egypt, striking down cattle, sheep, horses. Imagine the despair of the Egyptians as their livelihoods, their very survival, were wiped out. Still, Pharaoh refused to relent. He seemed blind to the suffering around him, deaf to the pleas of his people. His heart, it seemed, had turned to stone. The air grew thick with the groans of the afflicted. Painful, festering boils erupted on the skin of the Egyptians, a plague that spared neither man nor beast. The itching was unbearable, the pain relentless. Imagine the fear, the desperation, as the Egyptians realized the extent of their suffering. Even Pharaoh's magicians, who had once tried to mimic God's power, were struck down. Their magic was useless against this divine retribution. The sky, normally a brilliant blue, turned an ominous black. Then came the hail, not gentle raindrops, but chunks of ice that pounded the earth with terrifying force. Crops were destroyed, trees uprooted, houses reduced to rubble. Imagine the terror as the very heavens seemed to unleash their fury upon Egypt, but Pharaoh's defiance remained unbroken. He looked out upon the devastation, his heart hardened by pride. He could not admit defeat. A dark cloud appeared on the horizon, growing larger, blotting out the sun. It was a swarm of locusts, so vast it seemed to stretch across the entire sky. They descended upon Egypt, devouring every green thing, stripping the land bare. Imagine the despair as the Egyptians watched their crops, their future, disappear into the maws of these insatiable insects. The land, once fertile and abundant, was now a desolate wasteland. Pharaoh's stubbornness had brought his people to the brink of starvation. A darkness deeper than any night enveloped the land. It wasn't just the absence of light, but a palpable, suffocating darkness. People couldn't see their hands in front of their faces. Imagine the fear, the isolation as the Egyptians wandered blindly through this unnatural darkness. For 3 days and 3 nights, the darkness held its grip on Egypt. It was a darkness that seemed to seep into the very souls of the Egyptians, a chilling premonition of the final terrible plague to come. A silence heavier than the darkness fell upon Egypt. For in every house, from the humblest peasant to the Pharaoh himself, there was death. The firstborn sons, the pride and hope of their families, lay dead. Imagine the anguish, the cries of grief that echoed through the land. Pharaoh, finally broken by this ultimate act of God, could only weep. His pride, his stubbornness had cost him his own son and brought unimaginable suffering upon his people. And so with the final plague, Pharaoh relented and let the Israelites go. This marked the beginning of their journey to the Promised Land, a testament to God's power and faithfulness. The 10 plagues were a clash of wills, a battle between the might of Egypt and the power of God. They are a reminder that even the most powerful empires are subject to a higher authority, and they stand as a beacon of hope for all those who suffer under oppression. A testament to the enduring power of faith and the unwavering belief in a God who hears the cries of his people.
Thank you for watching. Please comment, like and subscribe.